Orphaned Entertainment, the podcast dedicated to public domain and abandoned media. I'm your host, Christopher, and joining me is the woman who pulls herself up by the bootstraps to get things done. It's Lydia. Lydia, how are you?
Oh, I'm great. I'm so happy to be here. My voice is a little rough today, but we'll get through it somehow.
Oh, I think you'll do fine. We'll manage.
I'll just drop into that AM voice every once in a while.
Perfect. Well, I want to thank everyone else for tuning in to Orphan Entertainment. We really appreciate it. This show is available wherever you get your podcasts, and if you have the option, please consider leaving a rating and review. It really helps more people discover the show. We have a YouTube channel where you can watch many of the movies we've discussed on the podcast. Go to youtube.com and search for Orphaned Entertainment, and you'll find it. If you'd like to reach out to us, we'd love to hear from you. Please send any comments, suggestions, or you can even do a recorded message and send it to orphanedentertainment@gmail.com. You'll find links to all our social media accounts and ways to support the show financially in the show notes, or you can head over to orphanedentertainment.com for all those links as well. Let's listen to an Ellery Queen 1-minute mystery and a promo for another podcast. And when we return, we'll dig in and plow through our daily bread.
Ellery Queen's Minute Mysteries. This is Ellery Queen with a case I call the Time Bomb. An eccentric Chicago millionaire friend of mine went a step too far, I thought, in making two heirs compete for a fabulous diamond provided in his will. I knew one of the heirs who came to me for help. The will said the gem would be awarded to the first one who signed a claim before a U.S. magistrate on June 1st, 1 year after the millionaire's death. What'll I do, the heir asked me. Find an island in the Pacific, I replied. In a moment, I'll tell you what I meant.
The best of the best, and the worst of the worst, and the one where all the characters curse.
Rotten Tomatoes, Metacritic, IMDb, and Letterboxd all want to stick a simple rating on what we watch. But where's the nuance in that?
A popular movie doesn't always age well, and who cares if the critics didn't like it? We here at Good Movie, Bad Movie believe every film has an audience.
So join us for the good, the bad, and the so bad it's good, such as The Godfather,
Back to the Future,
Gigli,
Jaws,
Young Frankenstein,
Manos, The Hands of Fate,
Killer Clowns from Outer Space,
and Plan 9 from Outer Space. New episodes every other Monday, wherever you get your podcasts.
You can find us on Instagram at Good Movie Bad Movie Pod, or write to us at goodmoviebadmoviepod@gmail.com.
Or join us on our Discord server by searching Good Movie, Bad Movie.
The cream of the crop and the box office flops. They will always be there to watch. Good Movie, Bad Movie with Allie and Matt.
In the case of the Time Bomb, the young heir could beat his rival by going to the place where June 1st would come first on U.S. soil. That would be the island of Guam. A long way to go for a diamond, but worth it. Listen again to Ellery Queen's Minute Mysteries.
Our Daily Bread is a 1934 drama written and directed by King Vidor and stars Tom King, Karen Morley, and Barbara Pepper. Well into the Great Depression, a couple, John and Mary Sims, are doing their best to dodge bill collectors and selling anything and everything to try to eat and live. Mary's uncle visits and offers them a chance to try and work a farm he owns that he doesn't want. John knows nothing about farming, but they jump at the chance. Traveling out west, they find a run-down house in a dry, unplanted field. Trying to make the best of it, they go about trying to clean things up and take stock of the equipment and supplies that they have. While working out in the yard, John sees another traveler stuck on the road struggling with a flat tire. John goes down and offers up some advice and helps the man get his car back on the road. Discovering that the man was a farmer in Minnesota and has little hope of making it to California like he had planned, John offers up a deal. If he stays and helps teach John how to work the farm, he and his family can live on the land. Almost immediately, John is struck with the idea that this plan could work on a larger scale. If they could find other skilled tradesmen and farmers, they could build a sort of cooperative community. Setting up signs along the highway, they draw in dozens of men and families, some perfect for John's idea, stonemasons, carpenters, and so forth. Some not so much, a violinist, a tailor, but all are willing to work. The group elect John to be the boss and they get to work. Everyone pitching in and everyone helping one another with what they're best at. Unfortunately, the bank and Mother Nature are both problems to be overcome as well. One the group can manage, the other is more dangerous as a drought looks to dry up any hopes of the farm ever making good. With everyone's lives on the line, John is brought to his limit as forces beyond his control and from outside try to pull him down. King Vidor is an American director, writer, and producer. He was born in Galveston, Texas, to a well-to-do family of lumber importers. At the age of 16, Vidor dropped out of high school and went to work at a local Nickelodeon theater as ticket taker and projectionist. At 18, he became an amateur newsreel cameraman and began honing skills as a documentarian. He filmed and sold footage taken during a local hurricane to a Houston newsreel company, the Grand Military Parade. In 1914, he and Edward Sedgwick formed the Hotex Motion Picture Company. They produced low-budget 1- and 2-reeler adventure comedies, and sadly only still photos survive from any of these. After marrying his wife, actress Florence Cobb, Vidor moved to Hollywood to try and find work in the burgeoning movie industry. Florence secured work at Vitagraph Studios and began what would be a successful career in the silent pictures, and King Vidor found some work in small roles. He went to work for Universal Pictures, but was soon fired for continually trying to present his own scripts under a pseudonym, Charles K. Wallace. He was eventually rehired as a writer of film shorts about the rehabilitation of juvenile delinquents by Judge Willis Brown. In 1918, at the age of 24, Vidor directed his first Hollywood feature film, The Turn in the Road, a presentation of Christian Science for the independent company Brentwood Film Corporation. He'd make 4 total films for this company, all of which starred a young Zazu Pitts. We've come across her name in some past films.
Yeah, definitely.
He next worked with a New York-based company, First National, and they forwarded him some money to create a small production studio in Santa Monica, California, dubbed Vidor Village. Vidor set down his own rules for filmmaking based on his Christian Science beliefs. I believe in the motion picture that carries a message to humanity. I believe in the picture that will help humanity to free itself from the shackles of fear and suffering that have so bound it in chains. I will not knowingly produce a picture that contains anything that I do not believe to be absolutely true to human nature, anything that could injure anyone or anything unclean in thought or action. Nor will I deliberately portray anything to cause fright, suggest fear, glorify mischief, condone cruelty, or extenuate malice. I will never picture evil or wrong except to prove the fallacy of its line. So long as I direct pictures, I will make only those founded on the principles of right, and I will endeavor to draw upon the inexhaustible source of good for my stories, my guidance, and my inspiration.
Very, very confident statements there.
Oh, absolutely. He worked within this studio through the early 20s until it unfortunately went bankrupt. So he offered up his services to the major studios, and he worked with MGM throughout the 20s and 30s, even directing some portions of The Wizard of Oz, albeit uncredited. Apparently all the black and white Kansas stuff, including the Somewhere Over the Rainbow scene,
Wow.
is reportedly directed by King Vidor.
How interesting.
He'd continue to work with MGM, as well as spend time at Paramount and Warner Brothers. His filmography is expansive, as Vidor was listed in the Guinness Book of World Records for having the longest career as a film director, spanning 67 years.
I saw the last credit was in 1980.
Yeah,
And his first was in 1913. Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah, it's crazy how long his career. It's a name. For as long as that career, weirdly, I don't think we've come across him before in any of the films.
Not in anything that we've covered. He directed The Fountainhead, one of my favorite books, which is interesting. War and Peace, Solomon and Sheba. Those are his later credits. I think his earlier ones we're not as familiar with. But La Boheme I've definitely heard of, even though I've never seen the 1926 version. So it's interesting. He's definitely done some things I've heard of, but not anything that we have been able to cover.
Right. So it's interesting, but I definitely think as we go on, I think we will definitely see his name come up again.
I wouldn't be surprised if we did. Especially with so many movies coming into the public domain now.
Yes,
we have to keep remembering that.
So a little bit of some of our stars here. Karen Morley was discovered by director Clarence Brown while he was looking for a stand-in for star Greta Garbo in screen tests. This led to a contract with MGM where she would appear in films like Mata Hari in 1931 and 1932's Scarface. She left MGM in 1934 after a dispute between her and the studio over her marriage to Charles Vidor, no relation, and her decision to have children. That is a different time.
Yes, definitely.
The studio owned you, and they didn't like the idea of you going and ruining yourself with kids.
Yeah, it's very, very interesting.
After World War II, she returned to film, but found herself blacklisted in 1947 after testifying at the House Un-American Activities Committee and refusing to answer their questions concerning her alleged Communist Party membership. She left Hollywood and moved to New York, where she appeared on stage, including Broadway. Tom Keene made his film debut in a 1923 short film and worked for Cecil B. DeMille in 1929's The Godless Girl. In the 1940s, he appeared in a film serial, The Great Alaskan Mystery, and a couple Dick Tracy films in supporting roles. He moved to television with guest roles in programs such as The Range Rider and The Adventures of Ozzie and Harriet. And his final film role was in the Ed Wood classic Plan 9 from Outer Space as Colonel Tom Edwards.
Yes.
And he retired shortly thereafter.
We're not claiming that is connected in any way, but
The other name with any kind of real significance that might jump out is Barbara Pepper. She plays our blonde bombshell here in this film, and she may be best known to some classic television viewers as a Doris Ziffel on the sitcom Green Acres.
Interesting. Wow,
Yeah.
Interesting.
She went on and she would have some small roles in It's a Mad, 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 Mad World, and even in My Fair Lady in 1964. And she was also very well-rounded in the radio world as well.
That is fascinating. That's really interesting. So there's
But
oh, go ahead.
yeah, I was going to say, is there anyone that you wanted to that jumped out at you?
I think one other person has to be mentioned, and I looked him up because he's kind of a curious character in this movie. As he comes on, you're definitely thinking that Louis, played by Addison Richards, is going to be the bad guy. And he, after hearing King Vidor's statement of what he's willing to do and not do in film, the character of Louis becomes even more interesting, and you wonder how much he kind of got changed around because of some of that. But Addison Richards is not a name that I recognize from anything. He's worth mentioning, though, because he has 423 acting credits. That is an insane number. Even in the era that we're talking about, 400 credits is just nuts. And he went through, you just scroll forever and ever to get to the beginning. He didn't start that early. His first credit was in 1933. And then his last credit, gosh, I got to go all the way up to scroll all the way up.
1964, maybe?
In 30 years, he had 423 credits. And that is just insane.
Yeah, that's amazing. Now, of course, most of them are probably small roles,
parts,
television guest star sort of stuff.
But playing characters, he was in My Three Sons in 3 episodes. And, you just, as you go through 67 episodes, 1 episode, 3 episodes, he was in a ton of TV appearances, but also he would be in big sections of it, 12 episodes at a time, 5 episodes at a time. So these aren't just one-offs where he was just, crowd member number 4 in some season, he was actually a character in him. So I just think that's incredible. We've seen some very high numbers before of acting credits for people, but I think this is the highest that I've ever seen. And it's interesting because he's an important role in this movie, but he's not a main character, I don't think you would call him. And he's a very subdued kind of personality. And so you definitely, when you first see him, you think, oh, this guy's going to cause a lot of trouble. He's a bad guy. But then he kind of turns out to be a hero a little bit. And then they just leave you hanging.
Right. Yeah. Well,
it's interesting. I think it's a good point to step into this movie and just talk about the notice at the very, very, very beginning of this movie that this film was inspired by headlines of the current day.
Yeah.
And 1933, 1934, of course, is when the Dust Bowl was happening. In Europe, there's some very troubling political stuff going on. The beginning of course, Hitler taking over the government in Germany, and the New Deal coming out in the United States. And so this is effectively a propaganda film, is what this is. It's all about encouraging people to go work hard and trust in the Almighty to provide, and Mother Earth to provide what is needed. And I guess let's talk about if it plays out that way or not.
Yeah, it's funny to use that word. I actually used that same word when I was talking to my wife after we watched this film last night. I was like, this is really like a 1930s American propaganda film. And she actually was asking me sort of backpedal of using the word propaganda. She felt like this was really kind of, while it might be exaggerated and maybe a little glorified, which maybe is the definition of propaganda, but she was saying this is what people had to do to survive, through the Great Depression. They had to band together. They had to just, as I joked at the beginning of the show, pull themselves up by the bootstraps sort of thing.
Yeah.
But this is certainly, I think, an idealized version of that. And maybe grandized a little bit.
Yeah, I also think that I would not consider it a propaganda film if it didn't have some fatal flaws. And we can talk about those in a little bit here. But to me, it starts off with this very, determined couple that they're willing to work really hard, and they basically fall into the, not ownership, but the tenantship of this kind of totally rundown farm. And when it starts off, you're like, okay, this is going to go a certain way, right? You're expecting it to be, they're a married couple already, so you're expecting it to be a kind of married couple kind of rom-com situation. And it doesn't, it starts off in that direction very strongly. And the first half of the film is like a let's all work together kind of film. And then it kind of takes a hard right turn and gets a little bit weird. But I guess let's talk about the characters in the movie.
Let's talk at the beginning. Let's talk about John and Mary Sims. And again, idealized. It is he's the guy with the big ideas. He's always out trying to find that next, he's standing in line to looking for the jobs, or he's looking for the next great idea that's going to get him money and that sort of thing. And she is the wife that whatever he does, okay by her. We'll make it. We'll get by. And, we don't have any money now, so you better go down and sell something else so we can get a chicken, that sort of thing. And it's just completely always a smile on her face.
Yes.
Go get him, tiger.
Idealized is absolutely the right word for Mary. She does not have a real human bone in her body at all. There is nothing about this woman that is, I don't want to say identifiable, but maybe recognizable, not in like a real human way. But I think that what's the right word? Criticism probably applies to John a bit too. In the beginning of this movie, neither
Yes.
of them feels like a very real person. There's the scene when they get out there to the farm and it's nighttime and they build up the fire and then they start laying out their beds. And can you hear my struggle? And he's like gone out and gotten fir boughs to lay down to make mattresses. I'm fine with that, solid with that. And then he starts telling Mary, now lay your blanket down on top of them. Now pull your blanket up over yourself. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, is she like, what? I can't say anything at this moment that won't come across as extremely offensive, but what the crap? Like, what woman needs anybody, not just a man, but anybody to tell her to pull her blanket up over herself? There's some weirdness. They're like trying really hard to present this couple as like this real wholesome, happy couple to the point that it's not believable.
Their dialogue felt more like it would have been written for a radio play than a film.
Bet you never slept on pine boughs before.
Yeah, it tickles.
I learned how to make them when I was a Boy Scout. And we won't put your blanket down. That's the stuff.
Smells good. How do you like my pillow?
Oh, that's a humdinger. Put those over you. There you are. Well, good night.
Nice.
If you didn't have the picture, wasn't everything, the fact that they were pretty much describing everything that they were doing, it felt very much like they were trying to describe it for someone who couldn't see what they were doing.
I can see that. Yeah, there's a little bit of that in there. So I don't know if the dialogue is just... Sorry, the analogy I was going to say is I don't know if they hired George Lucas to do the dialogue or what, but it's there's definitely a little bit of this is rough going on through and you kind of want to like him. I really enjoy Mary as a person. She seems phenomenal. John, also John and Mary. Oh, wow. Really? Okay. Like, they're trying so hard to present this as the typical all-American couple that it is stifling. Yeah. So,
it's amazing they weren't John and Jane Doe.
Yes. I 100% agree with that. So, yeah. Like, you start off thinking, okay, this is like this peppy, cool couple. And then for me at least, I very quickly changed my opinion to, these are a couple of people that have like a 5th grade education. And, which, you know what? There were people with lower education levels at this time. So maybe that's part of it, is that we just have these very different expectations in life at this point in history right now and in our timeline. But I don't feel like that is reflected in all the films we've been watching. It feels like it's in this one and not in all of the others.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, this is a couple where it starts out as they are definitely, they are cheerful, but their go-get-'em attitude and everything is kind of fun, and that's fine. But when they get to the farm, you quickly realize not only do they not know anything about farming, they don't know anything about farming. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this is a couple that is going to starve to death.
Yes. Yeah.
They're going to be eaten by wolves.
This is the before scene to Penny Serenade. Like, that's what this is. This is before they get angry and divorce each other. Like,
yeah, and it's just it doesn't even look like John truly knows how to even work a shovel. And I'm not sure what he's trying to do other than to do Vidor says, okay, struggle with a shovel. Don't have a goal in mind. Are you trying to sow a field? Are you trying to dig a hole? I don't know what you're trying to do with the shovel.
With a flat tipped shovel, okay?
Yeah, a spade.
And
Isn't that the spade? Yeah.
I'm alive now in modern day. I've never lived on a farm. Even I know you don't use a flat-ended shovel to dig a hole. It's oh god, yeah. It's and then she comes running out of the house, cooey, and waves at him, and he's like, "Oh, hey, I'm tired," and you're going, these people are gonna die. For sure, these people are gonna die. They set it up so forcefully.
And it's only by chance that Chris Larson and his family break down literally at the gate of this farm.
Yes.
Hey, why don't you put the axle over that hole there and then shove the jack under?
Thanks, that's a good idea. That's a good yoke, all right. I fixed the tire to go, and I got this much gas only.
I'd like to help you out, but I haven't got any gas here. You going far?
I was going to California, Penn Gold, maybe. But I don't think I get there now.
That's tough, all right. Where'd you start from?
I was a farmer in Minnesota, but they take my farm away.
Yeah, it's been pretty hard on you guys. Say, I'll bet you know all about farming.
I always think so, till last couple years.
How'd you like to come in here and work this place with me? I just got here yesterday myself, and I don't know much about this farming racket.
Say, fella, you joking?
Honest, no joking. Come on, I'll open the gate.
Yeah, and this is an interesting character. I like Chris. I think he's probably my favorite character in the whole thing. He's also the one of the least stupid characters in the whole thing.
No, absolutely. No, he does have some intelligence, although he is definitely the stereotypical Swedish person in the 1930s.
Yeah. So,
with all the Y's for J's and everything he says. Yeah.
And that's
Jumpin' Yemeni.
Yeah. So they definitely some representational difficulties there by modern standards, but they actually represent him as an intelligent person and somebody that's capable, which I really liked.
Honestly, everybody, and that is for 1934 idea of progressive, this film is progressive because you've got the Swedish immigrant, you've got an Italian, you've got a Jewish family, and none of them are played as the necessarily as like as much of the stereotypes as you might see in other films. They're all kind of portrayed as being a little bit more with it.
There is one glaring void though. And it's not something I thought of until you were mentioning the diversity, but this is, the level of exclusion of people of color is painful. It's and Asian people as well. Like, I mean, there's no Asian people, there are no Latin American people, there are no African American people. No, this is a very white film. Very European centric. So it's another. But that's why I was like, that's why I said that for 1934 version of progressive, this film was, it's what's really funny is I missed the first time watching it that they were representing him as Swedish, and I thought they were representing him as German, and I was like, that's an interesting choice this year to put a blatantly German person, but before they actually do even call him a Swede. They do. They do. Yeah. All the European, as you say, are represented here, but none of them are played as being, the other. They're all are in together. Yeah. They are included. They're all intelligent. And in the 1930s, there was a real problem with the immigrant population, especially, I don't think there was any Irishmen. No. I wonder if that's telling. There are some bizarre gaps in this. And I think by today's standards, obviously anytime we're saying by today's standards, there's going to be massive, massive gaps. But I honestly feel like even by those standards, there are some uncomfortable absences. We are we are at this point 90 years past the Civil War, and which is not a terribly long amount of time. But yeah, they're in. I just got to be real careful what I say. But I find it a little problematic. And then, to be fair, and maybe not to be fair, I guess to admit a fault of my own, it's not something that I noticed when I was watching it. But thinking back about it and going, oh, well, how inclusive is this film? Like, how representative of the American population at the time is this film? It's not. There are massive, massive gaps. And it is very much presenting an idealized, and I gotta say, I gotta think of the right phrasing for this. The idealization in this film is a bit problematic. But having heard King's credo, it makes a lot of sense to me now, and not in a good way. Oof. So,
Yeah, Vidor was a very apparently devout Christian scientist, and that comes through in a lot of his films, apparently, which makes sense when you listen to that credo. He is trying to make a film. He's trying to paint a picture of what he deems as kind of like what would be his perfect world. And why there's nothing wrong with that. In this world, it'd be like with a little bit of a change, a little bit of a few extra additions and everything, this would be a wonderful world to live in if we really had a place where everyone is like, yeah, let's all get together and be friendly and do this, and
we all work together
and pull together, and we'll all throw in our money, we'll all throw in our what food we have for the greater good. Like, okay, yeah, wow. This sounds fantastic. Welcome to Star Trek, folks.
Right. We're, 300 years ahead of our time, but yeah, it's interesting. I think we are not going to dig into Christian Science because that's not what this film covers, but I am going to look into it later because I'm really interested now to know how that differs from, I guess you could say, the stereo or the typical American Christian religious landscape of that time. I'm really interested to know what the differences are. But yeah, back to this movie. There is no glorification of evil people in this movie. There is this interesting situation again with Louis. So as all of these people are rolling up saying, I have special skills, I want to be part of this. It's basically a commune, which is really funny. They cannot use that word. They say, I think they call it a collective, and we're a ways
cooperative.
We're way before that whole Red Scare and all of that, but there is still a level of they are not pushing the ideology of well, somebody actually brings up, hey, we should be a dang it, I've got the word sociologist stuck in my head. That's not the right word.
Socialist?
Thank you. Somebody even brings up, hey, we should be a socialist government. And I thought, well, that's interesting. And then they're like, no, we want one person to be the boss. And I thought, and we're back here. So what this ultimately is, what they are not saying it is actually socialist government or socialist a community where everybody is equal and everybody contributes what their specialty is. At its core, I'm not promoting any particular societal belief in this podcast, but that is what they're talking about. So it's before it became a bad word, right? So it's really interesting. We're talking room with a view type of socialist, not, Anyway, moving on. Again, I'm hedging around all of these subjects that I don't want to get into. But it is interesting that they mention it.
When Captain John Smith and his gang arrived on this continent, what did they do? Stand around and beef about the unemployment situation or value of the dollar? No! They set to work to make their own employment, build their own houses and grow their own food. On the Mayflower, there was a planter, a printer, a doctor, a soldier, a bookkeeper, and so on. And that's what we've got here. If they got along without landlords and grocery bills, so can we. What we've got to do is help ourselves by helping others. We've got the land, and we've got the strength. Yeah, and we haven't got any Indians coming around to scalp us either. Now, you don't have to stay. You can go whenever you wanna. But if you do stay, make up your minds to work and put this thing over.
Folks, I've got 2 bushels of taters in the back of my flivver. I suggest that we throw everything we have in together into one common pot. Money, food, everything.
You can have my 3 hens and a rooster.
I got a $20 gold piece.
I got 2 sacks of flour.
I'll throw in my goat.
And here's my $5.60.
Post for $1.80.
Marvelous, marvelous. All right, you, a man with the potatoes, what's your name?
Hannibal. George Washington Hannibal.
All right, Hannibal, you're commissary sergeant.
Accepted with pleasure, sir.
Now, who had that $20 gold piece?
Here it is.
You've got charge of the dough, the finances, if any.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman and friends, what form of government are we going to have?
Well, whatever most of the crowd wants.
Then I suggest, my friends, that we bind ourselves together in sacred covenant and establish an immortal democracy.
Hey, it was that kind of talk that got us here in the first place.
No.
We must have a socialistic form of government. The government must control everything, including the profits.
Wait a minute. Let me talk. I don't even know what those words mean them fellas been talking. All I know is we got the big job here, and we need a big boss. And Jan Sims is fella for boss.
Sims for boss! Hip, hip! Hooray! Hooray!
Hooray! Latter reviews, people who have watched this film after the fact, after the 1960s or 1950s, after the McCarthy era, with the Red Scare and all that stuff, have mentioned the idea that this movie is, in their eyes, pushing some sort of communist agenda or something like that. And
interesting, because that's what's on their mind at the time. And for us viewing it now, we're like, oh, this seems like there's communities now in our modern era where people have shared living spaces. They have, really interesting concepts where you're minimizing the impact on the planet, and you are maximizing the ability to rely on each other and to know your neighbors, and you're sharing facilities, and you're eating together, and you're working together. It's very similar.
It's very similar, and it's funny is you go back to around this time, you have boarding houses too, which is a very similar concept where you have everybody has their own separate room where they sleep, but they all dine together. All their rent that they pay for the room and board goes into a big pile, and that pile helps pay for the food that the woman, cooks for everybody. And maybe people take turns in the kitchens and everything. It's all very much the same thing. And it's weird that in the 1930s, 1940s that you had that, and then flash forward 20, 30 years, suddenly that entire idea is turned into a dirty word.
Yeah. Isn't that so interesting? And I think that is being re-idealized in modern society. Again, we're not a political show. We're not going to get deep into this. But I think it's really interesting that we're watching this movie from the 1930s, and I can see it and go, oh, that sounds just like this thing that's happening today. And very prominent in this movie is talking about Mother Earth providing for people, taking care of the land. Like, we would call it a very eco-proactive kind of movie. Now, in some ways, in other ways not. But it is really interesting that these concepts that they're 90 years old. This movie is 90 years old. And these concepts still feel very fresh and very relevant today. And it's interesting. It's interesting to watch it and go, I mean, the tiny house movement, the slow home movement, the slow food movement, all of those things are remarkably similar to what's being promoted in this movie. And I guess it just goes to prove that there are no new ideas. Things just cycle back around over time.
Absolutely, yeah. Community gardens, the whole, the neighbors that have that take that empty lot and turn it into a garden for everyone to then come and tend, and everyone benefits
Shares
from
food out of it. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's interesting. I think, but some of that makes me think, the ideas that are in this movie at some level are tried and true. They're good ideas that we can continue to think about and learn from. But it's not, and I think that there's an effort made in this movie to represent it that way. And then they decide to have some kind of conflict happen.
Yeah. Yeah, that's when we get to, I guess, Louis and his quote-unquote sacrifice.
I think even
no. Actually, I'm sorry. No, that's when we get
Sally.
Sally, who shows up again. Another car gets stranded out, at the gate of this place.
I saw the light burning. I hope you don't mind.
Why, not at all.
Say, what is this? A gangster's hangout or something?
Why, no. We all work here. We're farmers.
Say, where is this place? I've been driving around that darn rain for about 5 hours. I must have taken the wrong road someplace. My old man got tanked up in the last town we came through.
He did?
Passed out in the back of the car. Probably drowned by now.
Is that your car?
Yeah. Say, would some of you fellas be good enough to bring him up here so he can catch his breath?
Sure. Hey, come on, a couple of you big guys.
Okay.
Louis.
Sure. Certainly.
Where's Louis?
Come on.
Well, come on, what are you waiting for? Go.
Let's go. Hey, my wife makes wonderful preserves, and we'll get plenty to eat. Like nothing I
It's still raining.
Well, it's great for the corn.
You go over there and dry yourself out. You better get the dock pipes.
This old guy was drunk, but he's dead now.
Dead? Are you sure?
Well, I guess I know a stiff when I see one, don't I?
Her husband has passed.
Her
died
old man, maybe
her old man.
husband.
Sounds like died of alcohol
Yeah.
poisoning.
Yeah, we get the idea that Sally is a bit loose and fast. So whoever died of alcohol poisoning in her car may or may not have been in illegal relation. I immediately got from her slang and attitude the impression that her old man is not her husband or her father, was what I was getting from it. She certainly at no point is like, oh no, my husband's gone, what do I do now? She's more like, well, crud. Can I hang out here for a bit?
There goes my ride.
Yeah, can I hang out here for a bit? Well, now let's put on some fun music. And I think they're trying to lead up to some interest on John's part in Sally, and I didn't get that at all.
No, it's very shoehorned in. I read at someplace that Vidor said that that Sally was introduced into the film pretty much he was forced to just because that was for the box office.
Because something had to happen. Because something has to happen in this movie.
They could something that reviews and or the poster could have that would bring people and put them in the seats.
Which, if you think about that, that's pretty funny because studios have always put things in movie posters that have no bearing on the movie. So why start now?
Yeah, I know.
It's so weird. So they bring this random woman in here just to create a little bit of, oh, is John gonna leave with
Is
Sally.
he going to stray? Yeah.
Which makes no sense at all because I am 100% convinced, and you guys will not change my mind on this, that Mary and John have never had sex. They do not know what it is. They are not ever going to have kids because they don't know how to make kids. These people are not experienced enough in life to have any. Why is John leaving with Sally? Like, there's no sexual tension here. There's no sexual tension for anybody.
It's very forced. In fact, the first time you get any impression that the film's even trying to do that, we really don't see anything. But we get, I believe it's actually Louis is talking to Sally, and he's like,
Well, move over. Sourpuss. Nice joint they got here.
Yeah.
Beautiful view. Great idea, this village. Swell chance for advancement. I'm going to open up a beauty parlor. Got a special invite from the head man. Hey, what's eating you? Cat got your tongue?
I don't know how long you're gonna be here or why. That guy's married and you lay off.
My gosh, ain't you anticipatory?
then we just see John later on looking all bothered and worried.
Yeah.
And Mary saying something like, "Look, I don't know how long this thing's been going on with you and Sally, but you need to." Like, wait, what?
Well,
what's going on with?
He did peek through her keyhole when she turned on her music, and then told his wife, "Well, she looks like she feels better." And the peeking through the keyhole, I was like, "Well, that doesn't seem appropriate." But then I was also like, on the other hand, this man has the emotional maturity and probably the sexual maturity of a 4-year-old, so he's not doing anything wrong in his mind. But it's really, really, really weird. Their whole interaction, yeah. So that happens. But it doesn't. And
if anything happens, it happens off screen, and we're just it's sort of insinuated to the audience with a few lines from characters.
Yeah, with no implication in this movie at all. I mean, I'm gonna avoid making inappropriate analogies here, but okay, we're done. All that to say, they try to create some tension in here, and to me, the far more compelling part of the story is Louis, who it turns out has a price on his head. And when everybody's run through the food and the corn's still not ready to be pulled in, and we're to a desperate situation, we find out that he has a $500 bounty on his head, which is a lot of money in 1934.
Yeah, it's I looked it up and now I forgot. It's several $1,000s. It's almost $10,000 maybe.
Yeah, enough definitely to feed a whole lot of people. I think $12,000.
There you go.
Roughly, it's enough to feed a whole lot of people for quite a while on. And Louis goes to Chris and says, "Hey, I'm going to have you turn me in so that the rest of the group can eat." And Chris says, "No way." He tears up the wanted poster. I love Chris.
I love that scene. That scene is fantastic. Yeah.
I want to know something, Chris.
Sure, what?
What's the lowdown on this food situation?
Well, it don't looks good, and that's the truth.
No chance of getting any anyways?
The men been out every day after rabbits and deer.
You know as well as I do there's no more rabbits, and there ain't a deer in the county by this time.
That's right, I guess.
Hey, take a look at this. You'll probably guess something like that about me.
Yeah. But what's this got to do with our food?
The $500 has got a lot to do with it.
How?
You and me are going to take a trip into town. You're coming back with $500 without me. You get the reward for the camp, see?
What do you think I am?
The camp's got to have food.
There ain't a man in camp wouldn't rather starve than eat that way.
Well, it'll get me anyway, sooner or later.
I forgotten I ever see that paper. And that's the truth.
Yeah, it's interesting because they're setting up Louis from the very beginning as being the bad guy that's going to steal everybody's money and run off. And then he, earlier in the movie, when somebody's trying to take Chris's plot away from him, comes up and slugs the guy and is like, no, Chris, this is your place. You get to stay here. And tells the other guy, I'm watching you. You better not make any trouble. He basically is the self-appointed sheriff and does a great job at it. Like, keeps people from stealing money and from stealing goods. And you're the whole time kind of expecting him to go off and be the bad guy, and then it turns around and he's the hero. It's really interesting.
He does finally find someone to help him out. He goes to Sally. She's the one with the car.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking he is taking a huge chance by getting Sally to do it.
There's no way. I was sure she was gone the second that she gets the money, but she comes back, and this is interesting. I kind of just clicked for me. He tells her, you're going to tell them you're Mrs. John Sim. And so the check, she gets a check, is made out to probably John Sim. I didn't know. So
she doesn't get the money without John.
Right. And I assume she probably could have finagled it. I guess this is them trying to prove that she's really interested in John, but I still don't buy it. And also, good luck with that girl, because he don't know anything.
Right. What I really like, although we don't see Louis again, he's not necessarily forgotten about in the film. After they've got the money, and they've kind of spread it around. They were able to buy supplies. They bought seed. They've bought sewing machines so the women can actually make clothes, coffee for, and everything. And I think at some point, though, they have, did they actually have like some early harvest? They were making something. And he's like, we should take pictures and send them to Louis. Oh, that's a great idea. Like, I like that.
Yeah.
They're actually... out to actually thank him for what he's done for them.
Yeah, and they say the judge, we told the judge what he did with the money or why he turned himself in, and the judge said he'll go easy on him. But I'm like, I just would have liked to have seen Louis back in the movie at the end.
Yeah, no, I would have too. There's definitely been passage of time in the film. Because, corn doesn't grow overnight. So we see the corn first getting planted and the first sprouts. And then when we see it again, it's, 5-6 feet tall. So I guess weeks have passed. It's not like we've spent years or anything on this farm. But yeah, it would have been nice to see Louis somehow. They gave me probation or something like that.
Yeah, or, he just rolls up at the end of it or whatever. But that's not what happens. There's the drought, which... It's thematic. They said that the movie is based on headlines of the day. The Dust Bowl, of course, happened in 1933, destroyed. I don't know if it was millions or billions of acres of crops in Kansas, Colorado, Texas, and Oklahoma, but just of course, devastated that whole area of the Midwest, and they don't really represent that here. You thought I was building to, and they show a great job. No, they don't. There's not really a Dust Bowl situation here. It's more we haven't had rain in a while situation.
Yeah, it hasn't rained. Everything's dry. The corn is drying up.
Yeah,
yes.
Not representative of enormous sandstorms coming through and just blasting people and crops and ruining lives,
burying
and
homes.
Being hard to even breathe outside. They're not showing that. That's not what's going on. So this is loosely inspired by headlines of the day, I guess.
Yeah.
We've seen a movie already on this podcast where they do actually show that whole Dust Bowl going on. And
it was just the Roy Rogers film, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. And if you want to see a representation, at least a partial representation of that, in some of that captured on film, go watch that one. This one doesn't show it.
Yeah. Under Western Stars, under
Western Skies,
under the Western Skies. Yeah,
I think that's right. We'll dub it in post. You can find it on our website, orphanedentertainment.com.
Yeah, just search for Roy Rogers.
Yeah, just look for that. And so that's a good reference, I think. And despite being a Roy Rogers movie, maybe a more representative of the time. This movie we're getting extremely close to the end. We blasted past the 50% point when we introduced Sally, who comes very late into the game. And now, the issue is that there's not enough water for the crops, and so they decide they're gonna, long story short, they figure out that there's water uphill 2 miles away, and they're gonna dig a trench. And they've got 5 days to dig a 2-mile trench. And I gotta say, I had no idea how ditches were dug in the 1930s, but it's kind of impressive. Like, you've got a whole crew up front with pickaxes, and I was like, what are they doing? They're not digging a hole. They're just beating on the earth. And then they shift up, and then guys come behind with shovels, tossing the dirt off the edges. And I was like, oh, wow, this is super effective. Like, we don't do that anymore. We have whole trenchers, right?
Right.
But,
the line in front break the dirt, and then the line behind shovel it out.
It was really interesting to see that. So for the apocalypse hitting, when it does actually happen and we don't have trenchers anymore.
Now we know. Right.
Yeah. So that's good. At least it's an educational video.
Lessons learned.
Yeah. And the movie pretty much ends really abruptly. I think we're not going to... I don't think we're spoiling anything by saying... that the end of this movie is one of the weirdest endings to any movie I've ever seen.
It's a happy ending, I guess.
It's the number of somersaults through water. It's got to be a record, at least on this podcast.
Yeah.
Headstands in water. People rolling around in mud. It's very, very, very happy and abrupt. It's very abrupt.
Well, you see them celebrating in the water. The film actually ends with another little bit of a flash forward where apparently their irrigation works, the corn comes in, and the end of the film is seeing them harvesting the corn.
Yeah. And again, I don't think we're spoiling too much by telling you guys the end of this movie. It is it is not political propaganda in a sense, and in a sense it is political propaganda, because in this country, at least, politics and the economy are too closely tied together to separate. And even at that time, I think that was true, especially with the introduction of the New Deal and trying to promote and encourage people to go back to the land, all that kind of stuff, and work hard, form a chain gang, build some interstates, all those things that are coming on.
Need a dam? We'll build a dam. Let's go build a dam.
We'll just dam up this river, and everybody downstream, screw them. But it is it's an interesting movie in the sense that you can see that they're trying very hard to promote an ideal of a country. They are trying to promote what they want to see the country look like in the future, and the conversations that went on going into the creation of this movie would be really interesting to hear. And I think maybe I'm just a little bit jaded these days. And so I'm a little, I also feel like maybe they would be a little bit disheartening to hear. What we need more people to be willing to go work on farms. Let's make a movie about people working on farms and being happy. I don't know, right? We weren't there.
Vidor went to major studios, went to like MGM, whatnot. A lot of the studios didn't want to back a film with this topic. Mm-hmm. He even went to like some of the smaller studios, like RKO or whatever, and they didn't want to touch it either. He had to pretty much mortgage his own home and finance this film himself in order to get this thing made.
It goes back, so
because
I very, very, very took a very, very cursory glance over Christian Science, and talking about I can't say it right, Swedish Borgian ideals, and I go back to Kingdom Hospital with it. It's so interesting, but it's a very like kind of primitive philosophy. And so I'm not surprised that in 1933, when or 1933-34, when the economy is suffering so much, there are a lot of companies that don't want to do movies about farming. That isn't the way of the future at that time. At that time, the way of the future is automobiles and highways and building up businesses and factories, and farming is not the ideal for big business and for big Hollywood. So I'm not surprised that there weren't a lot of people super excited about making this film. And again, extremely, extremely cursory glance over the religion that the director, subscribes to, is like, oh, well, yeah, this is not popular at this time.
Well, I also think too there was the studios, while they're not the government, maybe they were trying to placate to the government, to like, we don't really want to show Americans struggling and having to come up with these plans or these ideas or go to these extremes in order to survive, because they yes, it's happening. You can look out the window and you can see the food lines. You can see the people unemployed. You can see the shuttered factories and everything. But
25%. In 1933, the unemployment rate was 25%. In 1934, it was 22%. That's insane. That's literally 1 in 4 people don't have a job. We've talked a lot about how difficult it is to get a job right now, but our unemployment rate right now is between 5 and 7%, if that. And I mean, you're talking... It's insane numbers. So this is also, of course, a decade after Wall Street.
Yeah, I do think there was sort of a push to, I guess, ignore the problem is kind of the roughest way to say it, but certainly not portray it. And we've watched many films from this era where you don't see people struggling. In fact, you see just the opposite. Look at all these wealthy people in their cars, and they have their maids, and let's have a comedy, and look how he fell down the stairs, that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I go to Sullivan's Travels a lot. Things are so depressing at this moment in history, and people don't want to see more depressing. Right. They know what it looks like.
They want it.
And so
they want films that are going to distract them from these struggles. And so, I think that. Yeah, I can definitely see where the major studios were like, no, we want to do the next zany comedy with this comedy duo or whatever, to try to distract people from their problems, not remind them that, oh yeah, they don't have a job and they just spent a nickel to go see a film.
Well, and it is interesting. It is definitely a very upbeat portrayal of the situation, even though, yes, they're having trouble growing food, and even though, yes, they're, the larder is really close to empty, every time that they get to that point, something just pops up for them. And the message in the movie is, well, things are tough, but if we just work together, everything will work out fine. And it's a little bit of pushing it back on the people that are struggling, saying, well, you need to work with other people to fix this problem, which is kind of interesting. I don't have a moral to that statement. It's just interesting. I think we go through that a lot in modern society too. Oh, you've got a problem. Well, you just need to work harder at it.
That is often what you hear from a certain side of the coin, I guess.
Groups. Yeah, definitely. So it's an interesting, it's interesting to see this movie and see how it shows solutions to issues of that time.
While I don't have a problem with the message or any of the lessons that it's trying to teach, I think it is very Pollyanna approach at it.
Yes, it definitely is. There's, I can't expand on that in any way that will add to it. You're right. It's a very Pollyanna view of the world. Would it be nice if it worked well? Yeah, I think, I don't think it's crazy to say, hey, if socialism worked, it'd be great, right? I don't think it's a crazy thing to say, oh, if we could all just go and live on a farm together, that'd be great. It'd be so good for our mental health. But it is a very idealized view, portrayal of it.
I find it very unrealistic that we get one moment in this film. And you mentioned it earlier when the guy's like, hey, this is my land. I picked it yesterday. It's not my fault you didn't know. And that's when Louis comes in and is like, nope, sorry. Like, that's it. That's all. That's the conflict we see out of.
There's no conflict except for.
There's like 30 people in this group, and that's the only conflict that we see.
Yeah, nobody has any issues with each other besides that. So yeah, it's there's very little about this movie that feels like this is real people dealing with real issues. I think the issues in it are very real, but the people in it are not very real. And
are not genuine. No. Yes, it's genuine issues with disingenuous portrayals of people.
Yeah. So an interesting movie to see, an interesting clip back to certain mentalities of that time, but it's idealized, and so I think we just have to be careful not to take it at face value and not say, oh, this is we're not Thermians watching the Galaxy Quest videos and saying, oh, this is reality. We just need to be careful not to do that, because this is not reality of that time. It's not portraying things as they actually were. It's portraying an imaginary solution for real problems with imaginary people in it. And the end result is, I guess we're to ratings. The end result is, how do we feel about the end result of that?
If it comes down to rating this one, and I feel bad for doing it, I think it's just because it is so, as I said, Pollyanna, it is so rose-tinted, and God, I'm having a hard time really coming down on a number. Because I think it's, as far as technically it is shot well. The last, I want to say the third act or whatever with the digging the trench is astonishing. That's a fantastic little bit of filming. I could just watch that kind of over and over, and it becomes almost mesmerizing because they're all in time, and they're with the pickaxes and the shovels, and it's like. You're seeing men digging this ditch, but in your head you're almost imagining like a steam engine, chugga chugga chugga, going along and everything. And it's amazing watching them actually.
And they use the sound very well.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And so it's like that's really great. But the rest of this film with the forced conflict with Sally and John, which may or may not have been there.
I do struggle with the concept of these guys digging a ditch for 5 days straight. I think that's how you die. I'm pretty sure that's not humanly possible. And maybe, that's what it's supposed to be portraying is, oh, they did something not humanly possible because they banded together. But if you're thinking about the logistics too hard or at all, it becomes bit fantasy.
It would have been nice to see actually them doing some shifts or something, and some more different guys coming in or something and doing some work and switching off, letting someone rest or sleep.
Wrapping people's blisters on their hands.
Yeah, anything.
Like, woo. These are not people that do this all day, every day, right?
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, so anyway, but with the story overall, it's just, God, I don't know. Maybe a 2.5 kind of thing. I can't. It's hard. Like I said earlier, I like the message. I think I don't care for how the message is told. And so maybe a 2.5-ish. Where do you fall? I'm not.
Yeah. Well, I mentioned very early on, tonight that there are some major flaws for this movie. The biggest flaw for this movie is that there is no character growth. There is no change in the situation. The only thing that changes is the farm itself. And that makes this story a bad story, effectively. Like technically, is it man versus nature? Well, almost, but not really, right? Because then we run into a whole bunch of other kind of strange things that are going on. This movie is very problematic. It's got It's problematic from a storytelling standpoint, and it's problematic from an ideological and a representational standpoint. This is not the worst movie we've watched.
No,
it's
no.
not. This is not the most problematic movie we've watched.
Absolutely
It just is not. But it also raises additional problems because it's so, I almost want to say self-confident. Like it's just that rose-tinted confidence is like, wow.
No, absolutely. I was just thinking, this story, if they hadn't come up with the idea to dig this ditch, if they didn't have this creek 2 miles away or whatever, if that didn't exist, in this story, in this world in which they live, this would be one of those stories where this is it. If we don't get rain and, let's all kneel and pray and the rains would come.
Yes. That's exactly what it is. It's really weird. It almost doesn't fully replace it, but it almost replaces religion with self-sufficiency or co-sufficiency or something like that. And so, it's a strange movie, and I really enjoy Karen Morley in it. Tom Keen's not the worst in the world. I think there's some direction problems with how his character is written and directed.
Yeah, a little melodramatic.
A bit. Yeah, you think? Karen's character, Mary, is ridiculously innocent. There's just problems with it. And gosh, let's not even get into the feminist problems with it. Like, there are problems with her as a human who's able to survive without being spoon-fed. But moving on from there, like, she seems super, super sweet. Like, okay, if you told me that Mary grew up like Amish, I would full believe you. I would be like, oh yeah, that explains so much. I did watch some Amish romances last week. I get that now, right? Like, not implying that Amish romances really represent Amish people in any way. But yeah, I would believe the innocence level of her belief in her husband if you told me that. If she was maybe from a cult or from like a science lab where she's the star of the Truman Show, I will believe you. But other than that, she's just very, very strange. So sorry, I'm dragging this out a little bit. I don't mean to. When we start talking ratings, 2 is an easy number for me to pick.
Yeah.
You are right that the cinematography it's fine. It's good. It's solid. There's some, I think, interesting, decent sound direction in it. I think that the story is it's too simple, and then they tried to make it interesting and did it clumsily. And so it's not a movie that I'm going to say, you know what you should watch, because there are other movies that better represent this time period, that more accurately represent the struggles of the time period, and are more diverse in their representation. So there's a whole lot of reasons this is not a great movie. That said, like I said, it's not the worst movie in the world. You can put this movie on and leave your kids in the room with it, and they're going to be fine.
Yeah.
Right? You're not going to come back to them murdering each other or trying to become drug addicts, which is a genre that is really helpful for people who have kids too. But if you're watching this as a critical thinking adult, if you don't question anything in this movie, I'm a little concerned for you.
Yeah, it is.
If you believe Mary and John are real people, I'm a little concerned for you.
Yeah, the whole film is very saccharine. It's just...
That is a great word for it. Very saccharine.
Mm-hmm. It's too sweet. Everyone is just too good, too kind, and you really needed a antagonist, and there isn't one.
Yeah.
The weather is your antagonist.
Yeah, I mean, there some internal conflict with the group or something
that isn't forced.
That isn't forced. Something that feels natural and real. But you're going to struggle with that when you have Mary and John, who, like I said, I don't believe, you will never convince me they have ever had sex. It's not going to happen. So, even though they're married, okay. I just don't believe that they're real people. So our rating is 2.25 cumulatively.
No, I think I could land on that solid 2. I was trying to be generous, but I don't think I can really be that generous. There's just too much about the film that bothers me. It's like as I said, it isn't the message, it's how the message is conveyed, and it just doesn't ring true to me. This film doesn't convince me that this would work because it's just too sappy sweet.
There when you think there's going to be conflict, there's not, and when you hope there will be conflict, there's not. Yeah, and so
and when there is there is conflict, you don't believe it.
No, you don't. Yeah. So give us this day not our daily bread. We'd like another movie, please. But that said, happy Thanksgiving to everybody. This is going to drop a little bit before that holiday, and we often forget to say holiday greetings. So happy holidays, happy Thanksgiving to our American listeners, to our non-United States listeners.
Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday. And we're looking forward to Christmas and Boxing Day with you all. And Hanukkah and all of the holidays. We're looking forward to them very much. Kwanzaa and all the others.
Yep, absolutely.
But that's next month.
Yeah. And of course, we didn't think to mention or say anything last episode, but this episode actually marks the beginning of our 14th year. Which...
Yes, we're teenagers. We're through the terrible 13s and into 14 already.
Yeah, we'll be able to drive in 2 years.
Well, hopefully it's compelling, and hopefully you guys will stick with us. Thank you so much for listening to us for 13 years. If you've been with us from the beginning, if you haven't been with us from the beginning, we're so glad that you joined us when you did, and look forward to hopefully another 14 years.
It would be a lot of fun, because as Lydia mentioned earlier in this episode, there are some fantastic films that are falling into the public domain every year. I so look forward to January 1st now. I look to see that.
It's so fun to look and see.
Yeah. So I think all the films from 1929? Are we up to that? I'm losing track. I think it's the films of 29 maybe this year.
Yeah.
Coming up.
When the first ones dropped, it was such a big momentous moment, and now we've had a couple of years, and it's like, okay, I think we're going to need to start really making it intentionally pulling in some of those movies. Man, we're going to be able to cover some really well-known ones, which is going to be interesting, because up until now we've been, with just a very few exceptions like Angel and the Bad Man, we've been covering some fairly unknown films. So it's going to be interesting to start getting into ones that are more well-known and that people are going to have probably some very strong opinions
about. Absolutely. Oh, and I was mistaken. Actually, January 1st, 2026 would be the films of 1930, because we're going to be able to get to the second Marx Brothers film, Animal Crackers.
We're looking forward to it.
Absolutely. We had so much fun with coconuts, so.
Oh, what a good time.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, that'll do it for this episode. Lydia, as always, thank you so much. It has been so much fun this last 13 years to talk with you every month on these things.
Yeah, absolutely. You're at this point, Christopher, I haven't known you for so long. You might be the person that I've known almost the longest. You're in my top 3 longest non-relative people that I've known, and it's been a pleasure. And I'm looking forward to the next bunch.
Yeah, and we still like each other, so.
Yeah, so far. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, my husband mentioned, he was like, oh, you guys could record when you go visit Christopher and his wife next month. And I was like, oh, yeah. And then I totally spaced it. I won't be there long enough for us to record.
No, unfortunately not. But that would be awesome if we could. Someday we will have to do that, where we'll arrange to actually be able to spend a couple days and time to actually watch a film and then talk about it. Yeah.
And someday maybe we'll even let you guys know when we're going to be at a convention or something. So anybody that wants to meet us could get the chance to do that. We're pretty special.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're pretty fabulous. So, rock up in your lame and your Mary Janes, I guess.
All right. Well, let's put this episode to bed. Thank you, everybody, for listening. We'll be back in another month with another episode. So thanks, everyone. Bye.